Think about how normal it has become to live out loud online. So much of modern life is designed to be shown. Meals, moods, relationships, victories, breakdowns, random Tuesday sunsets. We've built a culture where the default is, if something happens, you post it. And yet there are people who don't. They're not absent from the internet. They're there in the background, watching, scrolling, reacting quietly in their own heads. But when it comes to putting themselves on display, they stay silent. That silence can look strange to others because we've been trained to expect a digital echo of everyone we know. So when someone doesn't leave one, people start guessing. They must be shy. They must be insecure. They must be antisocial. But the truth is a lot more complicated, and in many cases, a lot more interesting. To understand people who don't post, you first have to understand what posting means now. Social media isn't just a tool for sharing anymore. It's a place where identity gets built in public. Most people don't only upload content to update friends. They upload to shape a story about who they are. A picture becomes a statement. A caption becomes a signal. A story becomes proof you exist in a way that deserves attention. Little by little, platforms reward visibility in a way that feels natural, but isn't neutral. Likes and comments don't just say, "Nice photo." They whisper something deeper. You matter because you're seen. Over time, many people unconsciously tie value to display. The more visible your life is, the more real it feels. So someone who refuses to play that game isn't just skipping an app. They're stepping away from a social stage that a lot of people rely on for emotional confirmation. For many quiet users, not posting is a deliberate boundary. It's not that nothing is happening. It's that they don't want everything to be available. When you share a moment online, it leaves your personal world and enters a public one. Even if your audience is small, you're still handing your experience over for interpretation. Some people hate that feeling. They want ownership over their memories. They want the right to feel something without broadcasting it. Their silence isn't emptiness, it's control. Privacy becomes a kind of strength because in a world of constant exposure, choosing what stays yours is powerful. There are also people who are naturally more reflective than performative. They might enjoy social media in a quiet way, reading, observing, learning, staying aware. But they don't feel a pull to contribute. Their minds work inward first. They think about life rather than narrate it. A lot of them are sharper observers than you'd guess. They notice the subtle stuff, patterns in people, emotional shifts, contradictions, motives. They don't interrupt every moment with a need to show it. Instead, they absorb it. And in a culture that rewards output, observation can look like invisibility. But it isn't. It's just a different psychological posture, living as a witness instead of a broadcaster. Then there's another group who stop posting because social media gradually feels like acting. At the start, sharing can be casual, spontaneous, honest. But once you've posted enough, expectations appear. You start sensing an invisible standard. Keep your content interesting. Stay consistent. Look good. Prove your life is moving. Even if no one says that to you, the platform's design pushes it. Before long, posting stops feeling like self-expression and starts feeling like maintenance, like you're keeping a public version of yourself alive. Some people hit a point where they don't want their existence to feel like a performance. So they step away from posting, not because they dislike people, but because they're tired of staging life. Burnout adds another layer, not because posting is always hard, but because Keeping up a visible identity takes energy. Once your highlights live online, you can start feeling pressure to keep producing more. A great trip becomes something you feel you need to top. A good photo becomes a standard you feel you must repeat. Even your happiness can start to feel like a job you're responsible for delivering. For some people, the healthiest option is to quit that loop entirely. They want their joy to belong to them, not to an audience. They want to experience things without turning them into material. There's a psychological idea that helps explain this. When something is private, it feels more fully yours. Some memories feel sacred because no one else touched them, judged them, or reacted to them. Once you post, that changes. The moment becomes public property in a small way. It can be misunderstood. It can be reduced to a quick reaction. It can be consumed and forgotten. People who don't post often sense that shift more strongly. They don't want their life to become content. They want their moments to stay whole, unfiltered by outside eyes. Another factor is the reward system social apps are built on. Posting and receiving attention triggers dopamine. That's not weakness, it's biology. Platforms are literally designed to make that chemical reward easy to access. Many people get pulled into a cycle: share, get feedback, feel validated, repeat. But some people don't like how that feels. They don't want their emotional state tied to numbers. They don't want approval to be something they check for. And they don't want to think in terms of what's post-worthy. So whether consciously or not, they resist the dopamine economy. They choose to live without that constant feedback, even if it makes them look unusual to others. Once someone stops posting, they often notice a shift in how they live. They eat without photographing. They travel without framing. They laugh without documenting. They feel without translating everything into a shareable form. And in that shift, presence returns. You stop looking at your life from the outside, as if you're preparing it for spectators. You start living from the inside again. Nothing is paused for proof. But quiet online behavior isn't always calm confidence. Sometimes it's fear. Putting yourself out there can feel risky. You might be judged, misunderstood, mocked, or ignored. And sometimes being ignored hurts most of all. For people with anxiety, posting can feel like walking into a room where everyone gets to evaluate you silently. They might overthink every word, every photo, every possible reaction. Silence then becomes self-protection, not because they don't want connection, but because visibility feels emotionally expensive. And a huge misconception to challenge is this: being unseen online doesn't mean someone's life is empty in the real world. Many of the biggest personal changes happen quietly. Healing, rebuilding confidence, learning hard lessons, grieving, growing up, becoming someone new. Those things are rarely aesthetic. They don't fit neatly into highlight reels. They aren't designed for applause. So a person can look invisible on social media while living something enormous internally. In fact, sometimes the loudest digital lives are compensations, and the quietest digital lives are full. Not always, but often enough to matter. Some people are simply not wired to confirm themselves through an audience. They don't need to post to feel real. Their relationships don't depend on updates. Their self-worth doesn't depend on being noticed. They live more privately and sometimes more deeply because their attention stays in the actual moment. So when you see someone who doesn't post, don't rush to label them. Their quietness might come from anxiety, yes, but it might also come from independence, from a desire for presence, from a refusal to turn life into performance, from valuing real connection over digital display, from protecting what matters. Some people don't disappear because they have less to share. They disappear because they want their experiences to remain fully theirs. At the end of the day, not posting can mean many things. It can be fear, freedom, exhaustion, wisdom, or simple personality. But whatever the cause, it reminds us of something important. Life isn't only real when it's witnessed online. A moment doesn't need likes to matter. A person doesn't need visibility to exist. And sometimes the most meaningful lives are the ones that stay off the timeline, living quietly in the places where no algorithm can reach.